I want to watch this
Hi,
one
I'm
real
Griffin
quick.
Johnson, the Armchair historian.
Life in Imperial
Today's
Japan.
video
Did they all walk around with subtitles and jutsus?
What was life like for the average citizen living in Imperial Japan? This video is sponsored by Skillshare. More
I
on
know
that
what
later.
Skillshare is.
For our story, we
Casting
follow the
spirit
journey of
bombs
two
everywhere.
average citizens living under the rule of the Japanese Empire. One of these citizens is ethnically Japanese, and the other is Han Chinese, born in the imperial territory of Taiwan. This will allow us to experience two different perspectives of life in Imperial Japan. If you guys like
the
this
Taiwanese
format, we
person
can
probably had a
replicate it
very
for
bad
future
time.
videos in this series.
Probably
Before
very
delving
bad
into
time.
everyday.
By the way, man, a really cool movie about Imperial Japan is The Geisha, man. That was a good movie back in the day. Really fucking deep and shit. Thank you, Henry Tangy.
Life, we should first explore
Geisha is
the
a good
origins
movie.
of
10
militarism
years, man.
and
I didn't see
authoritarianism
that.
that would come to define it. A good place to start is 1868, when the old feudal system, known as the shogunate, was replaced with a strong centralized government, which sought to achieve direct control over its population. This came to be known as the Meiji Restoration,
Yeah,
a
that's why I
critical
was talking
moment
about
in
that.
Japan's history, as the new imperial government embraced Western technology and bureaucracy, which
You want to see her for audiences, man? Look at this. The Mad Emperor, Imperial Japan equals best Japan. That is a hoi for
stood
audience,
in
man.
stark contrast to the isolationist shogunate that had existed for centuries prior. With a new internationalist foreign policy came an active hand in global affairs, which resulted in several wars and expeditions, significantly expanding the reach of the Japanese state. As the economy shifted and the war machine
I know
needed
so
to be
less
fueled,
so
there were
low about
massive
this era.
repercussions for the common imperial subject.
イザムだ。これで来い、バカ。Oh, we're following Izamu. Let's check his life.
The year is 1923, and for our Japanese individual, Isamu, life could have begun in a rural area outside of Tokyo. His family had been farmers for hundreds of years, but in the generations since the Meiji
The
Restoration,
Japanese landside must
they
be so
have
beautiful. I
since
can't wait to go there
transitioned
one
to
day.
textile
You
manufacturing.
know, go to Japan, vacation, 2 weeks something as a European, but don't fucking chill in Tokyo all the time. Get out there. See a normal village. See nature, man. That must be
opening up
mind-blowing.
their own workshop. This is something that Isamu's family takes particular pride in, and indeed so does the whole of the empire. For
All these
modernization
videos make me
happened
wanna.
so rapidly.
Isn't it crazy how you guys are historical people? You guys watch a streamer that plays historical games. When you watch historical stuff like TV shows, videos, or movies, it triggers a feeling inside your brain that you want to play games about it. You know what I mean? When I watch Saving Private Ryan, I afterwards want to play Steel Division. This makes me want to play EU4 Japan and build production sites and stuff. It's so weird. You know? Yeah, you guys all agree. It's crazy, man. My friend stays in Japan. The normal people are very xenophobic. I don't know. That's very fucking
Agriculture now accounts
superficial.
for less than 20% of the national GDP. In pre-Meiji
Ghost of
Japan,
Tsushima.
almost the entire society was agrarian-based.
I played WoW when you played WoW. Oh, sorry for that, man. Shuin? Taihoku, Taiwan? Oh, mail.
Meanwhile, life for our Taiwanese subject, Su Yin, is a different matter. Unlike Isamu, Su Yin and her family still work in agriculture, not for themselves, however, but to sustain the working population of Japan's home islands. And while Su Yin's family lives under Japan and faces a degree of discrimination, they have shown rapid adaptation to the Japanese regime. Forceful assimilation has been something the imperial government has implemented in recent years.
Rural Japanese boomers are xenophobic just like rural American people. That's very superficial. If I would guess, if I as a tourist, like I've been living in China, if you go to a random ass village in Japan or China in 2021, they're gonna be nice to you, man. If you fucking behave and you're not a fucking white guy who's like, oh well, where's the 5-star hotel? Here's my money. They're gonna be nice to you, man. Maybe inside some people think, oh, what is this white guy doing here? When I went to Chinese villages, they were the nicest people ever, man. It was more like they wanted to show off. They wanted to give you gifts and stuff to show
their strategy,
stuff like
changing
that.
Taiwanese Chinese names to Japanese, promoting the Japanese language, and finally drafting the Taiwanese population into the Imperial Army. By 1930, Isamu is 12 and is just starting his secondary education.
In Denmark, we say don't be like German tourists. Yeah, German tourists are cancer, man.
The traditional honor code of Bushido,
English and German tourists are just the worst thing ever.
To the state. Su Yin, now also 12, has already
They all have katanas,
school.
Man.
Her education
it's like
was
an
different
anime
than
convention,
Isamu's, both because of her ethnicity and her gender. Because Su Yin was Taiwanese, her education was focused on breaking down her Han Chinese ethnic identity and reconstructing her as a loyal Japanese subject. For that reason, only primary education was mandatory, which focused heavily on literacy, but also on familiarity with Japanese culture and customs. Universal education, especially of girls, was something relatively limited in Japan and its territories. Legal equality would not be fully realized until 1945 in Japan under a new post-war constitution, and in Taiwan in 1946 under the Republican Chinese government. One important aspect of Japanese culture is faith, namely Shintoism, and by this time, state Shintoism. The Japanese government has taken massive steps since the Meiji Restoration to not only oversee religion in its empire, but conflate it with ultra-national.
I'm talking about the peaceful religion and you see the kamikazes flying by. Jesus
Isamu's
Christ.
family is traditional and they take their faith seriously. Because of the newly implemented state Shintoism, they now look down on foreign religions such as Taoism and Christianity. Not only that, but they view their emperor, Hirohito, as a deity, descending from the Japanese sun god Amaterasu. Because Isamu and much of the Japanese population
uses. If you don't know that, get a fucking life.
A direct successor of the sun god, they believe this gives him a divine right to rule over both Japan and the world. In Taiwan, Su Yin practices Taiwanese Buddhism, which is one of the few tolerated religions in Imperial Japan.
Thank you, Bojo, man.
Japanese Buddhists work with those in Taiwan frequently, but because of how different Japanese Buddhism is from Taiwanese Buddhism, there hasn't been much cooperation. As for future hopes and aspirations, Isamu is looking forward to
I listened to a podcast, right? And to most of us, Buddhism is a very peaceful religion. Buddhist people are very zen, chill, and stuff like that. And I just realized, because I didn't care, but now I listened to a podcast about it. The Rohingya minority in Myanmar is, don't make this wrong, Tommy, they are being hunted and genocided by Buddhists, right? That's what I listened to a podcast about that. The Rohingya are being hunted by Buddhists. So yeah, also Buddhists are kind of fucked up. And everybody's fucked up, dude. Jesus.
Graduating high school. Unlike what happened in previous generations, he won't be able to freely choose his wife. Instead, his father will find a wife for him shortly after he becomes an adult. Stuff. A tradition known as miai or omiai. She'll have to be of pure Japanese blood, as his father would never choose a half-Korean or someone of the lower classes. Man. In the meantime, Isamu is on track to taking on more responsibilities in the home-based factory. He plans on eventually taking over once his father decides to retire. Su Yin, on the other hand, now goes into a period of unofficial training to become a wife and a mother. Once she is old enough, she will be given to a husband
remarkable
and
how close this is to Nazi Germany.
The household. Her main concern is not if she'll like her husband, but whether or not she'll be able to bear children. If she fails to do so, she may have to return to her parents' home and live there. But as
it would actually, I don't want to go too far, but it's kind of funny. It would be interesting to see world statistics. What group of people, culture, religion is the least aggressive and did the least damage in the history of the world? Who will that be? Must be the gingers. What the fuck the gingers do, you know? Eskimos? Yeah, Eskimos, yeah. Eskimos, Switzerland, yeah. Dude, Switzerland must have like a dark point of history where they fucking did something bad. Yeah, Eskimos, true. Switzerland, Eskimo, the Irish. There's a lot of bloodshed there. The Inuit, Native Americans, they had their wars and stuff. Incans, they were fucking ripping people's heart out. What do you mean? Swiss and Eskimos coming around, huh? The thing is, the Swiss, they fuck you behind your back, man. They fuck you with money, dude. Irish. Inuit people, definitely. Switzerland was in a lot of wars in the Middle Ages. Peaceful people and cultures never survive. Ooh, that's a deep.
War approaches, our characters may not go down the path they planned
Hawaiians?
for. By the time they're 18
they have
years
wars
old
too?
in 1936, both
here we go.
Isamu and Suyin find
getting drafted
themselves
into
drawn
Shinra Tensei.
increasingly to supporting the Imperial Armed Forces. Both will have different ways to support the troops. Both will have different reasons
Around the year
for
1500, Swiss mercenaries were the most sought after and feared troops in Europe.
doing so, and both will have very different experiences in the field. But that's a tale for another time. Now, on to today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the
Yo, what's the etiquette as a Twitch streamer that reacts to YouTubers? Do I show this? Is that the etiquette? I want to be nice. I want to show respect, man. I kind of do it, right? Yeah, I'm gonna play
online
that.
self-improvement tool.
He deserves that,
offering users
obviously.
thousands of
No,
classes
it's too
in
long,
all
no.
sorts of
He deserves
subjects,
that.
ranging
We're
from
gonna listen.
writing to business to video editing and much more. Skillshare helped me out tremendously
He's just
during the
playing
early
Sims.
stages of my YouTube channel and continues to help.
True story though, I was also sponsored by them, dude. If you want to start getting into modern jobs like editing, I always say this, man. Editing is such a future job, man. If you learn editing and you text Twitch streamers, hey, I can be your editor, blah blah blah, and you start editing for them, and you teach you are a good editor with, for example, Skillshare. That's the future, man.
Help me
That's
out to this
big,
day.
dude.
Of the classes I've taken so far, Matt Ballick's about growing your YouTube channel stands out in particular.
It's
It
actually really-
details just how one should go about creating a mission statement,
Dude, I'm legit actually wanna. There's like short little clips. It's not too annoying, like 2 hours. If there's like something about the stock market, I would love
doing
to listen to
keyword
that actually.
research, making thumbnails, playlists, annotations, and doing collaborations. If you've
You can
noticed a
learn
change
editing
in our
at school
thumbnail
now. Where did
design
you go to
recently,
school?
that is precisely because of Ballick's class on Skillshare. If you sign up for the premium membership, you will gain access to the full selection of over 10,000 classes today.
10,000
Whatever
classes.
you want to learn about, you can do it here.
So every time I get
The
sponsored,
first
I'm showing
500
respect
of
to the
you
Armchair
use my
story in
promo
here.
link in the description down below will get their first 2 months
Check
for
him out,
free,
boys.
which
Have
is
you checked
plenty of
out
time
the
to at
vid
least
on the
get
first Japanese
basics
in Europe
down
and America?
of
No, I
any
didn't.
new skill you want to learn. And after that, it's less than $10 a month, making Skillshare one of the most affordable learning
Filming is a
services out
school
there.
subject in
I
Northern
can only
Ireland.
recommend you check it out and see for yourself.
Huh.